I'm very excited about this microphone. I think it's going to work out really, really well. Ah. So let's start with some very simple logistics. We have the beautiful Carla here holding space as Maya admin. Hi, Carla. So if at any point you have a question for me, you can type it in a chat to Maya admin. Carla will send it to me. And she also, I believe, will very soon, if not already, send you the reminder instructions for how to raise your hand, things like that. Thanks, Fatima. Does anyone have a question or something that they want to share about this last week? This is the module called The Flame and the Rose. And so last week we were really going deep into the Madonna Whore split, this way that the flaming rose has been split into these two polarities that have created these kind of lost and distorted versions of each. So it's really a shadow work week. And then this week we are diving into what is the real essence of the rose, what is the real essence of the flame, and how do they live in the body of woman, and how are they aspects of the deep feminine current. Does anyone have anything that they want to share or ask about their experiences of this last week? Okay. So let's dive in.
I will, Maya.
Yes.
Can you see me or hear me? I had
Oh,
a
yes.
share.
Hi. Yeah.
Your mic sounds wonderful.
Yay!
I have just noticed that when I play the Madonna music, mostly I've focused on the horror music because I feel like I'm been much more Madonna. So when I listen to the horror music, I feel my body moving and I want to cook. And I'm not one who goes into the kitchen very easily or takes any pleasure out of cooking, but I just have this desire to cook and to create food, and I feel pleasure in making the food.
Wow.
And when I play, because the Madonna music tends to ultimately make me feel a little agitated or just kind of So sometimes I then just for soothing put on the Madonna music, which is actually what makes me feel incredibly sensual and alive and just want to dive into long lovemaking, deep. Not that I have the opportunity to partner at the moment, but it makes me feel very sensual and sexual, both of which are kind of opposite to what I might have expected. I think I was thinking the Madonna music would, make me feel more sexual and full of desire, and the Madonna music or the horror music would make me feel that way. And the Madonna music would make me meditative or maybe domestic or something like that.
But it was kind of a flip for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful because it's like, it feels like once you kind of got into that low, deep, embodied place, that desire for food is it's like nourishment, and, just the sensuality of eating and cooking and taking in nourishment. And there's something very just beautifully erotic about that, like the true eros of, being filled up and hungry and eating, and something lovely about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely pleasure. You know, it was about pleasure. I was just
Right,
surprised at the flavor of the pleasure that showed up.
right. Yeah, and I remember last week, Kate was sharing that, you know, she had been in these kind of women's circles that were very focused on like the more Madonna side of the divine feminine, very up, very here, sit still when you meditate. And when she would start really tuning into the energy, it would feel sensual in her body. It would feel right. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because what we're really getting at here is the truth that these things can't be separated in their truth. That this spiritual energy, or this heart opening energy, or this ecstatic energy is the same as our sensuality. You know, they aren't two things. So
Yep.
you look great, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, really good.
Really good.
Thanks for sharing that, Gabrielle.
Right.
So, great. Yeah, if there's a question that you want to send in the chat, send it to Maya Admin. If you need to raise your hand at any point, follow the instructions to raise your hand. So I have a document that I'm very proud of and excited about that's about 10 pages long, that goes into really the essence of the rose and the flame. So I'm going to send that to you as part of your content this week. I feel intuitively in this call like I want to just take you into some practices to give you a taste, as well as at some point call on someone to demonstrate a practice that is going to be part of your deep dive this week. So I think the place that I want to begin is that one of my invitations to you this week is to get really intimate and honest with yourself about your relationship to God, the beloved, the universe, the goddess, whatever word makes sense to you. Maybe there is no word that makes sense to you. There is really kind of no word for it. But this is such an important part of awakening into this kind of embodied tantric, living, breathing meditation and prayer, right? Because so many of our concepts or practices that have to do with God or the divine can be quite conceptual. They can be quite mental. They can be quite logical. Or they can involve, you know, most of the non-dual stuff is like very masculine, and it's sort of like disembodiment, right? The feminine spiritual path is ultimately a falling in love with that one. And that falling in love is simultaneously like the most innocent, breathtaking longing in your own heart, the rose, but it's passionate too. Like there has to be passion there. There has to be that flame. And my sense is that that place lives inside of us, but especially in women. And that for most of us, we were very in touch with it as a child, right? Just kind of remember being a child and that sense of wonder and awe and at like the magic of existence. And oh my God, what is this? You know, it's like you could feel something in your bone, in your body, knew something, vibrated with some kind of essence. And then, of course, over time, we become more and more jaded. We become more and more cynical. We become more and more disillusioned, right? So in some ways, there's a re-enchantment that needs to happen. There's a way that I am going to invite and encourage you to get intimate with the secret, private place in your heart that longs for this beloved, that believes in this beloved, that never stopped believing in this beloved. And whatever your personal relationship with that one is, feels important to say here also that as women, we possess this kind of innate longing in our hearts for that one. And oftentimes we outsource to the man in our life or the partner in our life this deep yearning for God, And the truth is that it's quite disappointing to outsource that onto someone else because they're human, right? They're never going to be that. So it can actually be quite supportive for your relationships as well to get some differentiation there, to stop projecting that onto the human person that you're with so that you can have a real relationship with them. And so that you can cultivate and tend to what that longing actually is about, right? This longing to be ravished by existence, this longing to worship the one, this longing to know the one. Yeah, this love for the beloved. So that's really module 3, becoming the chalice, is really going to be taking that to the next level. But that's why I want to plant it right now as part of this coming week for you, because it is such an essence of the rose, the love for the beloved. And again, that love is not just intellectual, it's of the heart and it's of passion. So when we talk about the flame and the rose, in some ways, they cannot be separated. That picture of the rose on fire, that really is the essence. So in some ways, it's a little bit incorrect to talk about them as two separate things, but I think it's important to do that, to just get more in touch with the essence of them so that we can clear misunderstandings. So I want to take us into a little bit of practice. And like I said, I have a luscious document I'm going to be sending you that's quite thorough and long. And I map out in the document, part of what I map out is the way that the flame and the rose are essences of the deep feminine current. So before we do these practices, without going into them, I'm just going to tell you what I have discovered in my own immersion into this current, into my own body, what the essence of the rose is. And then you can discover as we do the practices how that taste, that essence is revealed in your direct experience. So the first quality is holy perfection. Another way of saying that is beauty. So whereas the the distorted Madonna is this kind of obsession with perfection and this idea that, once we get everything perfect and just right, then life can begin, or I need to be perfect so that I'm okay. The rose is like a deep, deep, direct experience of the perfection of the moment as it is in its isness. The second aspect is the beloved, which is what I was talking about in the very beginning, this lover, this one that we long for, this unnameable one. And that connection that actually lives in our own hearts with that one. And the third aspect is kindness. And it's a very, very, very relentless kind of kindness. It's a kindness that can cut through any kind of wiggling into self-cruelty, self-objectification, the kindness that's willing to stay with what is, stay with you in your experience, stay with reality as it is. So, So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. Put your hand over your heart. And if you've seen statues of the Madonna or these female saints, oftentimes you'll see that they have a very, very subtle, gentle smile on their face. So the first thing that I want you to do is see if you can find that smile, and you can even do it without moving your lips at all. But you're going to smile inwardly at your own heart, really engaging the energy of that soft, gentle smile. Beaming that smile at your own heart. Notice what happens in your heart when you beam this subtle inner smile. The inner smile is actually a very, very powerful Taoist practice that's used for healing the body. I personally enjoy this Madonna rose twist on it, which is just really beaming it at your own heart. Maybe you can feel that quality of kindness and mercy and forgiveness. Now I want you to, keeping your hand over your chest, we're going to take 4 breaths together, and on the exhale, you're going to make a vibrating sound. And you want it to vibrate in your chest under your hand. You want to be able to feel the vibration. And this is activating the vagus nerve, our capacity for empathy, for awe, produces oxytocin. Okay, so 4 breaths with me, vibrating on the exhale, breathing in. If you're shy about making sound, you need to push past that and go for it. Feeling the vibration. Good, and just continuing to rest in the heart. And now I want you to become aware of the quality of love that exists inside or around your heart. And I want you to use your full passionate, devotional noticing to turn towards that love. Now, this is very important. You're not creating love. You are looking for the love that is already there. It's already there waiting for you to notice it. So keep tracking it, turning towards it, and then breathing it in to your body. quality of love, sweetness, kindness, compassion, mercy, embrace as a felt sense in your body. Lean into it. Say yes to it. Turn towards it and breathe it in. And it can be helpful to continue vibrating on the exhale if you like. The point is that you keep digging, you keep hunting. You keep searching for where you can feel and notice this quality of love, and you go there. It's a feeling, and it already exists, waiting for you to notice it. Every time you get distracted, every time you start to wobble into scarcity, you return back. This is your devotion in this moment, to find and hunt the love, turn towards it, breathe it in. You have to be a bit crazy in your commitment. The love that is already here waiting to be felt and known. And you might experience it as coming from the inside of your heart. You might experience it as in the space around you. It doesn't matter. Just lean into it. Good. And then you can put your hand down back on your lap, resting, keeping the eyes closed. We're going to do one more practice for the rose, and I want to first share with you what I have discovered in my own body is that the flame and the rose each erupt out of what I'm calling the points of totality. These points of totality are actual places in your body. And this is important to understand because our mind relentlessly wants to think that we have to do and perform these things. And as I keep sharing again and again and again, feminine embodiment and feminine wisdom is found through an undoing, which means that this essence of the flame and the rose already exists within you perfectly, in fullness, in wholeness. They are there for you to tend to. You might need to do a little housekeeping and work on clearing the blocks or the paving the way into your contact with them, but they're not something you have to cultivate and work on. They're already here. And they are gifts for you to draw upon. They contain holy wisdom. They contain sustainable, life-giving nectar. So the point of totality for the rose is deep in the back of your heart. And both of the points of totality are, as I experience them, like pools of radiant darkness, deep pools of this fertile, life-giving prima materia. The prima materia is the everything of existence before it is birthed into form. It's like pure potential. So if you still have a duality around light is good, dark is bad, light is spiritual, dark is not, I need you to throw that away right now. Darkness is the divine in density. So I want you to sense into the back of your heart and just see if you can feel into, let's do a little bit of a surrender process first. So start by dropping your face and your lip, letting go of your eyes. Sinking down, softening the belly, and then resting into the back body. Space inside the back of you. And then finding a little bit of suppleness in your spine. Delicate, subtle suppleness. Keep letting go and trusting that you are held even when you let go. Both of the points of totality are very supportive in surrendering because the gravity and the power of them is something that you can lean into. To sense into the back of your heart. And see if you can sense into this deep, dark, rich, fertile, loving, powerful, inexhaustible pool. The feminine is holy darkness. The yoni is darkness. This fertile, abundant, love. I don't know what else to call it. So just sense into that in the back of your heart and sense how you can lean back into it and let it feed you. When we live on the surface of our hearts, we can get drained into that Madonna overgiving. When we start really going deep with surrendering our body to the moment, opening our body, if we're only living on the surface of our heart, it can be quite painful because it's very tender and fragile on the surface. Deep in the back of the heart, there is this magnetic gravity. This is where the roots of the rose are planted. Just feel what happens when you feel into and touch into that point. Don't worry about getting it exact, just play. This is a sustainable place of love, inexhaustible. Surface of the heart can be quite sugary sweet. This is a deeper quality of love. You might also notice that as you sink into that rich, deep point of totality in the back of the heart, there's a mirror point, which I call the floating heart. It's just above your chest. And this is where I experience these kind of petals opening, this beautiful rose of my heart. So we're going to do the final practice for the rose, which in some ways is the most important practice. It's a Sufi practice called the zikr. And some would say that it's the only practice in Sufism, which is that you call to God from the core of your heart. Your longing, your sincere longing for God. You can use whatever word you like, but you must actually say the name of God that is true for you. You can say it out loud. You can say it silently to yourself. But the point is that you call from this deep place in your heart where there's a sincere longing. Let's just try that for a minute. And I want you to feel what opens in your own body and being. You do this. Much more powerful when you say it out loud. So if you're in a safe, private space where you can do that, that is my suggestion. And this can bring up a very tender vulnerability. Welcome that. This can awaken your innocence, can melt your jadedness. Really feel your longing to be touched, to be taken, to be ravished, to be known by this one. We'll take a deep breath in together. So your practices this week will be invitations to explore that space more deeply. And module 3 will be really deepening into the union. So let's talk about the flame. Does anyone want to share about their experience of those practices? Welcome to share. Such a gift when people share themselves. You don't have to have anything together or planned. I certainly don't. You can even send it in a chat if you feel shy. I felt a calling from Allah. I felt tired falling asleep before this exercise. Deep, deep calling to Allah. Gabrielle, can we call on Gabrielle? Did Gabrielle want to share?
I wanted to appreciate that there's something about how you describe settling into the back, settling into my back, dropping back, that that has opened something, is giving me something different to feel.
Yeah.
My devotion to the divine has been such a part of me for so long. but I feel the difference between something that feels like it's more forward moving or straining or yearning or longing, and the difference when I'm still working on remembering your words because they carry it, but I drop back into the spaciousness um, in my back,
Mm.
here to receive. Like it feels like there's something then where I actually almost feel, maybe even
Yeah.
do feel the very thing that I've been striving to feel and yearning to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. When you rest back, you actually get to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the back body is very, very potent. It's subtle and it's simple, but it opens up a whole different experience of reality. Thank you. So I'm getting a lot of feedback about people feeling tired and noticing their tiredness as a resistance. Sleepiness feels like an avoidance protection and revealing that I so badly just want to let go. Someone else is saying the energy feels really intense. My body has been shaking the entire call. Felt beautiful and tender. I felt the longing so intensely, but it felt gentle. Yeah, it's important to note here, I think, that we might like the idea that we want to open to an experience of love, but some parts of us don't. And so we be gentle with ourselves. We go slow. We take it bit by bit, bite by bite. I have found the calling to the beloved to be so magical and so real that I actually, when I do it, I get a literal sensation of something in my crown opening and then like a cascade of shimmering like chills down my body. Someone saying felt effervescent. Let's call in Mima.
Oh, so this was very profound. It's a familiar place that I was detached from for a long time. I felt my heart expanding, and I felt that fluttering, and I connected to the diva, and I see how this reconnecting with God in a more profound way, it's just dissolving the thorns, breaking loose from the thorns in my heart, protecting it, but they were wounding my heart. It's so emotional. It feels like coming back home. It's a place that I've been longing to go back to for such a long time.
Yeah.
Sense of belonging.
So, love, I want to ask you, do you find that when you contact this place, it's sort of like realizing it was here all along?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was there all along, and I feel such a familiarity with, and it's like, I'm here. Come. So while I'm calling, God is telling me that for me to come to Him. I'm right here. I've been here all along.
Mm. Mm. So beautiful. Mm.
A lot is bubbling up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all good.
Yeah. Go slow with it. Be gentle with it. You don't need to bite off more than you can chew. You just,
Mm.
take it slow. Savor it.
And I noticed my body was just like instinctively, and I've been having resistance with the practice, but my
Mhm.
body started to just kind of like just naturally doing this. And I was like, I was observing that as well. Just don't really know
Mm.
what's going to show up.
Mm. Mm.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Mm. Jessica Ray? Hi.
Hello. Feel when you called on my name, I felt like this little kid that's like afraid of being seen, but questioning why I was raising my hand too. Um, it's like this stutter, this like scared part of me that I'm feeling open, just naming that of how I wasn't really feeling in the call out. Like
Mhm.
it's
It
such
can be very awkward at first, very awkward, because it brings up all of your cynical, you know, I mean, it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to call out to God from the core of your heart, like a child. Yeah. It's not very appealing to the ego. And that's part of the magic of it. And I think it's very normal to feel a little silly at first. Like the first couple times you do it, you feel a little awkward and stupid. It's normal.
yeah.
But if you keep going, it reveals quite a bit. It can open quite a bit.
That felt
What did you feel when you were trying to call out?
desperation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt this like shakiness, like, beloved. It was just this, and I've judged my desperation so much.
Hmm.
And I've just like kept myself very tightly close. Like, I'm not gonna ask for help. I'm not gonna.
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel the frozenness and pain of that, like shattering and breaking loose. And
Right. Right. Yeah. So that desperation totally can show up, and that's like, just welcome that. And every time you say it, it could be different. It could be a celebration in one breath and a desperate plea in the next breath. And, it allow that desperation is the way that you've felt abandoned by God, And often we hide our love and our yearning for the beloved behind our feeling of abandonment. We feel abandoned and therefore we cut off.
yeah, I noticed that even raising my hand was like a call out to the beloved.
Right.
And I felt that like, and then you're like, Jessica Ray, like, I'm here. And I'm just like, oh. Yeah. So I'm appreciating all this. And
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, love. I'm glad you raised your hand. Mwah.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the flame. And I'm actually going to take a quick bathroom break. So if anyone wants to take a bathroom break, it's literally going to take me like 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Much better. So the flame. What is the real of the flame? Right? If the Madonna is Little Miss Perfect, gotta be nice, gotta be kind, gotta be sweet, and the truth of the rose is this insane beauty and perfection of existence, and this relentless kindness, and this beloved that is always here, that never lets us get away, and our yearning for that beloved. What is the flame? If the flame is not lusty, sexy, eroticism, what is it? So again, I'm very proud of my document. You'll be getting it shortly. That's going to go in depth, but the way I mapped it out is the flame is one, groundlessness. Think of how a flame moves. It is wild. The truth of reality is that it is wild to the core, and so are we. Groundlessness means we don't actually know what's coming next. We don't actually have full control over what happens. And this inner flame can guide us towards what is alive, what is our soul actually yearning for. This is not a concept in your head. This is a way that you can move through space and inhabit the moment, through the instinctual body, through the wisdom of the body that knows where it's drawn, that knows where to go, that reveals this kind of crazy wisdom and gnosis that decimates logic. The flame is also the spanda. The spanda is a sacred erotic pulsation of the universe that's in every cell, every particle. When we become supple in our bodies, when we learn how to surrender into ourselves, into the moment, into existence, we start to feel the vibration of the spanda in everything. And the vibration of the spanda feels like a little subtle, giddy, joyful, not joy like happiness in the head, like a giddiness inside. And the more it's open to, it's quite ecstatic. And again, it's everywhere in everything. It contracts, it expands, it bends, it twists, but it's all the same spark, the same holy fire. Fatima says spanda is like a tickling inside. Totally. That can be one of the ways that it manifests sensorially. Yes. A lot of the practices that I have already given you are to support you to get in touch with that. Why do we want to get in touch with that? So that we can pray with our whole body, so that we can love this beloved and delight in this one. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an exercise right now. I want you to close your eyes and don't worry about getting this exactly right. It's just a play. I want you to remember a time when you were really, really, really happy. And sense into your body the core energy inside that happiness. Just touch it a little bit. Now remember a time when you were really, really angry. You were furious. Even if you can't remember a time, just call right now upon the energy of anger and go inside and see if you can touch the energy at the core of it. Now remember that feeling right when the orgasm starts to build, when you start to feel that first sparkle of an orgasm that's building in your body. Tune into the core of that energy. Okay, that's it. Do you notice that at the core, it's all the same substance. It's passion. It's our passionate energy. So one of the practices I'm giving you this week that I'm really excited about, and I'm going to share it with you now, and then I'm going to work with someone. It's called, what am I calling it? I just changed the name to something I liked better. Drinking the nectar of passion. I'm very excited about this. So I posted something in Facebook yesterday about how the Madonna, so in the split, the Madonna tends to repress her emotions, her passionate energy, until one day it just explodes into this kind of chaotic mess, right? Little Miss Perfect, it's suddenly revealed this mess inside, and it's chaos, right? The whore tends to overly indulge her emotions with catharsis, with believing them, with getting very wrapped up and burning herself out on them. So what is the Flaming Rose way of working with emotions? I'm calling it drinking the nectar of passion. Again, the flame and the rose can't really be separated, but in essence, this is kind of a flame practice. So as women, we are emotional beings. We have access to a wide range of emotions. And I'm sure that some of you have tracked, just physiologically, chemically, what happens in a woman's body cyclically throughout the month as estrogen rises and falls. It's a roller coaster, right? Oh my gosh. Ovulation, you're like, I can do anything. I'm totally confident I can take on the world. And then PMS rolls around and you feel tender, you feel like a failure, you can't do anything. It's very intense to be, a water being that's in these cycles of estrogen rising and falling all the time. So we have a lot of emotional content. We just do. I do anyways. So there are all different ways that we can work with emotions, right? We can repress them. We can analyze them. What does this mean? We can work with them somatically by bringing our awareness to them. We can cathartic them and get really into them. The practice that I'm going to teach you is about locating the passionate energy that's at the core of your emotion and allowing yourself to vibrate. This is the spanda. So emotion is a very, it's a place where spanda is very evident because it's the energetic is strong, yeah? So this practice is really for you to go deeper than the surface, the story, the catharsis, and literally get off on the vibration of the passion inside. And the way that we do this is by tuning in. So you can just try it right now. Tune into like a subtle emotion that's going on in your emotional body. It could be irritation, it could be delight, it could be frustration, it could be sadness, depression, whatever it is. Notice like just the vibrational energetic of it in your system. And I want to tell you all that I literally do this all day, every day. Which is that I have a feeling come up and I make sound with it. And the vibration of my sound the intention is to link the vibration of the sound with the vibration of the emotion, which takes me into the spanda, which takes me into this like radically joyful, ecstatic, orgasmic energy that is everywhere all the time. Does that make sense? So it's like it's going deeper than what the surface of the emotion seems to be. So go ahead and see if you can just locate a subtle emotion in your emotional body and see if you can see it as passion right now. And then I want you to make this sound. It's a Z. It's helpful to move your body around as well. And just pause, notice. It's harder to do this practice with really big, really strong, very story-filled emotions, okay? But if you can start doing them, if you can start doing this throughout the day when these little waves show up, I'm telling you, I do this all day, every day. And one, it helps me not be backed up, right? Clogged. Two, it's supporting me to ride the energy of the passion, to let the passion fuel me. I'm telling you, literally throughout the day, every day, I'm doing a lot of ha and a lot of okay, it's not a catharsis. It's a matching of the vibration and the energy of the passion inside your emotion with the vibration of your sound. And it's drinking the nectar of that passion, letting the passion fuel you, letting it feed the flame. No story, no analysis. Just, here's some passionate energy showing up. I'm going to receive it in my body. Okay, so the last quality of the flame is the quality of eros and desire. The real of eros is life arising. That's why it's this aspect of the flame is like holy instinct. It's that inner pull of our soul towards what is alive, what wants to make contact. We could call this truth also. What is actually true right now? What is actually alive in this moment? And moving towards that and allowing that contact to happen. There's a whole layer to this in sacred sexuality that I talk about in the document as well. And we'll go deeper into that when we get to the union of the flame and the rose. But I want to just separate it here and talk about the flame as an instinctive, soul-driven, passionate pull of our own body towards aliveness. Aliveness meaning it's not of our head. It's not what our head thinks we should do or what's right, or it's where am I actually drawn? What is actually true? And being willing to stand in that truth and be consumed by that truth. So I talk about this in the document too, and we're going to go deeper into it later, but I want to give you a taste of it now. Woman, through this split, has been very conditioned around her experience of her truth. And that conditioning looks like oscillating between being very impressive and perfectionistic, how I think I should be, what I think should be true for me, and then flagellating herself, shaming herself for being wrong, being in the wrong truth. The power of the flame happens when woman is willing to tell the truth about herself, about her mess, about her beauty, about her mistakes, her choices, what she likes and doesn't like, what she does and doesn't do, and to not flinch and leave that place, to not leave into being a victim of that truth, making herself right, making herself wrong, just staying in the truth of it. This is actually the secret key to embodiment. And this is perhaps what you've heard me seed and whisper throughout the previous modules, which is that none of this feminine embodiment stuff is about you becoming something. When you actually inhabit yourself, which yes, happens through a very physical surrendering, suppling process, but it's also about willing to tell the truth about yourself. That quality of embodiment and fullness is real power. So I would love to demonstrate what this looks like so that you can see it in real time. So I want to call upon a brave volunteer. Salona, are you volunteering? If so, keep your hand up. If not, take your hand down. Let's call on Salona.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, were you volunteering?
I was.
Great. So I think to demonstrate this, I want you to feel into, I'm getting an echo. It's really annoying. Carla, could you mute me and then unmute me and just see if the echo goes? All right, let's see how that is. It's a little bit better. Okay. Thanks for volunteering yourself.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I'm really glad you volunteered because we did a little bit of this in our session. So I want you to just sense into something about you or about your life that you have been wanting to hide or not admit to yourself. And pick it appropriately. So don't pick like the biggest shame of your life, but don't pick something insignificant. Find something that is, and just share about it a little bit.
There are three that come to me that are kind of on a scale of 1 to 10. They're kind of a 10 as far as the shame goes. It's sort of hard to find one that's middle range.
Okay, well, are you brave enough to share the 10? What are you dissatisfied with in yourself?
Dissatisfied with, wow, that's a different, well, I would say,
You can answer however you want. Just kind of start talking so I can feel into, we can all experience you in this place. Yeah.
I would say the one, like the two that are coming up, and maybe you can pick what feels more alive. Definitely the worldly success, the failure, the worldly success. And then the other piece is the being single for so long and not having sex in a very long time, like a long time. And there's a lot of embarrassment and humiliation and shame. And these are two areas that I want to hide the most, probably.
Good. So talk to me about the second one.
What do you want me to say more about?
Anything. Just talk about the suffering and the shame and the frustration.
Well, it felt, I guess it feel like part of it's that at my age, like I guess there's a shame that I haven't been more sexually active in recent years. And that I haven't had more sexually fulfilling encounters with men before that, which was part of why I just said no more. It's either no sex, or only if it's going to be fully like a sacred context and a real depth of connection. So that has ended up being nothing. And so I feel quite like I just feel this flatlined kind of asexuality that I tend to default to. And I feel like less of a woman. I feel less sexy and sensual and attractive because I feel there's a, like that compartment has been kind of relegated to the shadows and not really alive and running as part of my life. Like it's gone offline.
Yeah, thank you. So you have not had sex in a long time because you are saving yourself for a very special, sacred experience with a man. Is that right? Great. Okay. Just want to be clear about that. Great. So I want you to feel your feet on the floor. Open your eyes. Oh, got muted somehow.
Yeah, it keeps coming in and out. I see. But do you want my eyes open or closed?
Open.
Okay.
So I want everyone to really be supporting Salona and feeling the place in yourself where you identify with what she's said. So this is for everyone. Feel your feet on the ground. Relax your belly. Bottom lip soft and open. resting into the back of your body. Imagining a pool of deep, supportive gravity, density, darkness in front of your womb. Beautiful. That you can sink down into. It's supporting you in letting go and dropping down. Good. Relax this. You don't need to move, just let go right there. There you go. Now feel that deep pool of darkness in the back of the heart. Rich, relentlessly loving. And then I want you to say these words, and I want you to let yourself really fall into the space between the words. My name is Salona.
My name is Salona.
I am Salona.
I am Salona.
I refuse to allow a man into my body.
I refuse to let a man into my body
Until it is exactly what I want.
until it is exactly what I want.
I know what I want.
I know what I want.
Good. Keep falling into the spaces. Don't worry about the words. Just rest in the spaces. You're doing beautifully. Rest in yourself. You're doing beautifully. We're going to take it up a notch. So I'm going to say the words more quickly, but I want you to pause in the spaces between. My name is Salona.
My name is Salona.
I outsource my pleasure to men.
I outsource my pleasure to men.
This is where staying in kindness and not burning yourself becomes essential. Telling the truth about what you do without making it wrong, without making it right. Claiming Salona. I outsource my pleasure to men. I refuse to let myself have pleasure.
I refuse
Yeah,
to let myself have pleasure
until I want it.
until I want it.
Breathe into your heart a little bit. Can you claim this right now?
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Until I want it, I felt a little resistance because there's more around like the regimentation and the control and the deprivation that I don't trust myself to have pleasure even if I wanted it. So there's like a deeper underlying block that's beyond just want it or don't want it too.
I hear that. In my experience, we don't ever do anything that we don't want to do. And we don't ever not do something that we actually want to do. The empowerment for you here in this place can happen from actually owning and getting inside what you call a block, what you make wrong, and fucking owning it.
Mm.
Owning it like it is the most beautiful, liberating, empowered truth. There's nothing wrong with you refusing pleasure. There's nothing wrong with you for not wanting it. Can you feel that? You're very in touch with your frustration around not receiving pleasure, right?
Yeah, and all the things I have, all the reasons why it's scary or threatening or not safe, or I'm not worthy, or I have all reasons why I don't let myself.
Great. My name is Salona.
My name is Salona.
Pleasure scares me.
Pleasure scares me.
Now just drop down. Sink into the truth of it. It's not wrong, it's not right, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just Salona. So from this place, why are you scared of pleasure? Not from your head, from this place.
What comes up is the loss of control.
Exactly. My name is Salona.
My name is Salona.
I love control.
I love control.
Let yourself have it a little bit, love, just a little bit. I love control too, Salona. I get it. If you can, let love in here a little bit. Not the love that's trying to heal it, the love that's just holding it. It's not a problem. I love control.
It feels like a problem in that it's costing me a lot of my life and my aliveness, though.
Yeah, I so get it. And what I'm teaching and transmitting here is that real empowerment happens when we're willing to stand in the truth of what we do. That the empowerment that you think will happen when you fix yourself and stop controlling is actually available right now in you just embodying and claiming and feeling, I love to be in control.
I
Yeah.
to be in control.
There's just a little bit of pleasure there. Did you see that? Yeah, that's it right there. Okay, now everyone notice how she just like her cheeks got bright, like your beauty came forth suddenly. It was like this. Whoosh. Yes, beloved, right there. When we receive the truth of who we are, then we are free to make a different choice if we want to.
Yeah, that's the part I'm not in touch with, is like still wanting to get out of this, the hole or the trap or the fixation or the obsessed, the obsessiveness around it. And it's like, how do I get out of it still?
I get it, sweetheart, but from this place of the flame, of the real of Eros and desire, you control because you fucking love it. Because it feels good.
But it's so destructive, it feels.
That's your head, sweetheart. I'm sorry, that's your head. I know what you mean. But has it been helping you at all to make it wrong? Has it helped you change it?
No.
Okay. telling the truth about what we do gets us in touch with the erotic aliveness of it. Like you gotta have a little bit of a sixth sense of humor and just like really feel like, oh, I fucking love being in control and tension and just like holding on to everything. I'm not gonna let go. I'm not gonna let pleasure in. Like you love it. The making it wrong is how we objectify ourselves and live separately from ourselves. When we stand in the center of our own flame, our own eros, our own urges, and let ourselves admit and have it, we're free to experience the pleasure of it.
Hmm.
So slow down just a little bit. And say, I love controlling myself.
I love controlling myself.
And there's pain here too. And you can open your heart to that. But the biggest pain we carry is how we've made ourselves wrong and objectified ourselves. With total love and respect, Salona, there is nothing wrong with loving control. Like objectively, there's nothing wrong with that.
So where does the choicefulness then come from? It's just more time sitting here because I guess it feels like to be at choice would feel like more freedom than just being fixed there.
Yes. More choice comes the more you're willing to inhabit the pleasure and the no problem of your control.
Mm.
You're not intimately in touch with it right now because you're making it wrong. You're objectifying yourself. I should stop being controlling.
Yeah.
What do you love about control from this place? Just feel like the visceral, the pleasure of it. What do you like about it?
Mm.
Drop your bottom lip, rest into your back. Feel you, Salona, really Salona who loves control.
Feels like I do life on my terms. I feel like
That's right. I'm in charge. Say that. Say it again.
I'm in charge.
Say it again.
I am in charge. I am the only one in charge.
Ooh, I like being in charge.
I like being in charge.
Okay, soften to that inside. I like being in charge.
I like being in charge.
It feels good.
It feels good.
What do you feel in your body right now?
A bit of dissociation.
Okay.
Not quite feeling that softening inside that you were saying. Yeah, I just feel more like going through the motions of saying the words, but not really in it.
Yeah, so the words are not meant to be like a mantra that you're supposed to believe with your head. It's just an invitation for you to see what can open in your body.
Mm. I feel a bit of a buzz, like an all over buzz of a little bit being on edge.
Hmm. What does on edge mean?
Low grade anxiety, probably.
Hmm. Say, I'm anxious.
I am anxious. There's some disorientation too, like I'm sort of between worlds a little bit.
Hmm. Just intends to tell the truth and stay. So I want you to see, are you okay with just a little bit? Okay. I want you to see if you can rest back a little bit behind the anxiety. So you're not getting rid of it, but you're not merged with it. You're the one that's having the experience of the anxiety. You're you. Perfect, beautiful you. And there's nothing wrong with feeling anxiety. Doesn't mean there's a problem. Doesn't mean you're wrong. I am experiencing anxiety. See if you can say it like it's the most neutral, just a fact.
I am experiencing anxiety.
Slow down. Don't look for anything with your head. Just be here. Yeah. Yeah. You're not doing this wrong, Salona. I have a habit
I have a habit
of checking to see if I'm wrong.
of checking to see if I'm wrong.
To know that I'm okay.
To know that I'm okay.
To know that I'm loved.
to know that I'm loved.
So many women that are taking this in can relate to that. I need to know if I'm right or wrong. I need to know if my experience is right or wrong. If it's right, then I'm loved and I'm okay. The truth of the flame, the truth of real Eros is I'm having this experience. It's not right and it's not wrong. It just is.
Hmm.
What happens for you when you say the words, I have a habit of making myself wrong, or I have a habit of checking to see if I'm wrong?
I have a habit of checking to see if I'm wrong. What happens?
Can you feel there's a little more space that gets created
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just by saying it?
Yeah.
It's like it no longer is this like big, scary, haunting thing.
Yeah. For me, what feels more accurate is just I have a habit of checking if I'm enough or if I'm doing it right.
Mm-hmm. So say that.
Or I actually, maybe what's more accurate is I have a habit of always assuming I'm not doing it good enough.
I have a habit of making myself wrong.
Yeah, okay, that works. I see the round, yeah.
So say that and just see what happens. See if you can sink into owning that. Meaning it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just what I do. And I fucking stand for it and I love myself here. Just play with that. Yeah.
I have a habit of assuming I'm doing it wrong. Or that I'm inferior that I'm inferior because I'm doing it wrong.
I have a habit of making myself inferior.
I have a habit of making myself inferior.
Just hang out there. Don't analyze it with your head. See if you can let a little bit of love in, a little bit of passionate truth. This is what I do. So again, this is what real empowerment is. It's the willingness to stand in the heat of the truth of what we do and not objectify ourselves as better than, less than, right, wrong. Not because we need to figure something out, but the act of telling the truth and actually sinking in and surrendering our body to that truth I don't know how else to describe it other than we inhabit ourselves more fully. Like we literally come into form. We stop living separate from ourselves and looking at ourselves.
Mm.
You have a habit of making yourself wrong. So do most of us, by the way. Not unique. Telling the truth and standing in the vitality of it awakens our passion and our empowerment. But only if we're willing to stay in that middle ground and not collapse. Thank you.
Mm.
Thanks for volunteering yourself.
Thank you.
Someone says, isn't the need for control coming from here? Hence, how do we love it? This is the thing. And Carla, if you could please support taking everyone off of mute and video. If she's still here, I know we're going way over the time, but I'm just going for it. Someone asked, isn't the need for control coming from fear? Hence, how do we love it? So this is the thing, y'all. From this place of the flame and totality, there is nothing wrong with fear. Fear, when met with the kindness of love, just becomes another quality of passionate energy. It's not a problem that needs to be fixed. So yes, the pattern of control can be a source of a lot of suffering. That's true. And in my experience, the real suffering is the way that we objectify ourselves relentlessly and nitpick ourselves and are cruel to ourselves and perfectionistic with ourselves. When we just tell the truth about what we're doing, we get to experience the passionate energy inside of what we're doing, even if it's a pattern of suffering. We get to own it rather than be a victim to it. Does that make sense? Like, I own this. It's coming from me. It's erupting out of me. Can you feel the quality of self-love and self-acceptance in that? Of claiming yourself. I am beautiful. I am ugly. I am radiant. I suffer. All of it is here. Maybe some of it will change. Maybe some of it never will. Am I going to put off embodying myself and feeling worthy of walking the earth until I get myself perfectly fixed up? No, fuck that. The flame is hot, as you can tell. Oh my goodness, we have 11 messages. Wow. Love underneath all the messiness, full acceptance of what is. Wow, freedom. Exactly, Jessica, freedom. That's what it is. And again, I'm not saying, see, this is where it's the eye of the needle, because it's not collapsing into victimhood. Oh, I do this fucked up thing and it's so fucked up. But it's also not the opposite, which is like, yeah, I claim this and I'm proud of it. It's neutral and factual. Telling the truth doesn't mean anything about the truth. It's just saying what is and living in that place, claiming it. Can you feel the passion and the vitality that awakens in that? The like true empowerment. So my teacher that initiated me into this, he has a little bit of a different way of doing it than the way I'm exploring it here in feminine embodiment. But what he would say is that we cannot change until we experience the pleasure of what we do. The pleasure. Until we experience the pleasure of our relentless control, we're not going to be free to change it. Because if we're not experiencing the pleasure of it, we're not actually there having it. It's unconscious. It's kind of like happening behind the scenes. When we own it and bring it up close, it's like, phew, this is what I'm doing. And there's always pleasure in what we're doing, beloveds. That's the thing. Sometimes we hide the pleasure from ourselves and we don't let ourselves feel it, but we always are doing it for pleasure because we like it. That's freedom. Fatima says it was empowering Salona witnessing you. Yeah, Salona has a very deep heart presence. Okay. Okay. So I know we're going way over the time, but welcome to groundlessness. Welcome to listening to the moment. So I want to share one more flame practice. And again, it really is the union, because imagine that if you could stand in the passion and the vitality of just telling the fucking truth about who you are and what you do without making it right, without making it wrong, without making yourself better than, without making yourself less than, just me. This is me. I fucking claim it all. Imagine if you could do that while embodying that inner smile, beloveds. Kindness. All of this stuff cuts the head. The feminine embodiment and the feminine gnosis is not of logic. You've got to know this by now. It's not of the head. It doesn't make sense. It's radically alive and radically loving. So, I want to share another flame practice. And this is going to really support you all in getting in touch with the intuitive, instinctive body. So again, like I said, the reel of Eros is just pulling us towards what is alive. And the reason why, and I share about this in the document about like true sacred sex. True sacred sex is the combination of the flame and the rose. The rose part is virginal presence. Okay, sacred sex is not about doing fancy techniques. If that's what you're into, cool, no problem. What I'm talking about, the real tantra, the yoga of lovemaking, is not about doing fancy techniques to have certain kinds of orgasms or certain kinds of experiences. It's about showing up with a virginal, innocent presence meaning I'm not controlling this. I don't have agenda. I don't have pretense. I am here fresh in every moment like it's the first time. That's the rose part. The flame part is I allow my body, I allow the space inside my body, the true arising of Eros to guide me. Following Eros is like fumbling through the dark. It's like following the golden thread. You're like a panther, like sniffing. You don't know what's coming next. You don't know where it's going. This is not a performance. You're letting life be lived through you. And the whole thing is that metaphor for sex is also applied to our moment by moment experience in life, if we are living and in touch with the awakened flame and rose. So there's a practice that I call the body of Eros, and I want to, it's going to be part of your practices this week. I want to do a demo with someone. So does someone want to volunteer? Jessica Ray. All right, babe. Can we bring Jessica Ray on? I don't even know if Carla's still on. We've completely gone rogue here. Hey, sweetie.
Hello.
Okay. So I need you to be standing for this. Love your robe.
Do you need to see my whole body?
Just the top half is fine.
Okay.
Great. So the first thing to remember that's important, so again, masculine intelligence is logic, wisdom, reason. Where is this going? What's the point? What's the plan? What did we learn? Feminine intelligence is crazy wisdom, which means it draws from all these different threads, and it's like revelation that you almost can't quite explain, but you just, something in you knows something, okay? So before we do this practice, I want to just really emphasize that, like, there's no point. There's no way you can do it wrong. And there's no, like, final solution. There's no satisfying, you know, this is what we learned that's going to happen, okay? The body of Eros is infinite. It's never ending. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to follow the impulses of your own body. And the main impulses that I want you to be tracking, and I know that you're really good at this, so I'm glad that you volunteered, are sensation, emotion, memory, and we could call it like archetype, like kind of like archetypal energies that show up. Animals, you know, different beings, the queen, the king, the wretch, the child, the panther, right? Just archetypal energies. So do you have room to kind of move around?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have even more room.
I think actually I want you to sit.
Okay.
Yeah. So just position yourself so that we can see you sitting. Great.
Is that good?
Yeah. So this is really about your inner experience, beloved. So really just, it's kind of like I was saying on soul masturbation, like, okay, Carla, got it. If you need to go, feel free. Thank you for letting me know. It's kind of like with soul masturbation, like you gotta let go of the agenda. The agenda is not to be aroused. The agenda is not to get somewhere. Eros is about our soul's yearning for contact. Something wants contact. When life arises, when Eros arises, when something pulls at us, this is our soul yearning for contact. So throw that all away, Jessica. And just close your eyes. And you can keep this really simple. It doesn't have to be complex at all. What's the first sensation you notice in your body?
There's it's like a tightness in my belly. Like
Yeah, okay.
My belly's really loud right now.
Okay, good, great. So I want you to lean into that loud clenching in your belly, and I want you to also use your body in a way that you exaggerate it, accentuate it. It might be like making a fist in front of your belly, kind of like act out the sensation.
Like with my whole body.
Whatever feels right.
I'm gonna get it right.
Like my impulse would probably be to make a fist in front, like to do this. Ugh, clenching. Ugh, clenching. Yep, so follow it. Be available for it to change and be available for it to stay exactly the same. Just follow it. And then tell me when something new arises, either a new sensation or an emotion or an archetype, just when there's something new that authentically arises in your experience. Just trust that it's there. You don't have to make it happen.
Feel this tingling on the back of my.
Okay, great. So now move your hands towards the tingling and accentuate the tingling. Really feel it. There you go. Oh, okay. What's that emotion?
It's like this, like silly, like playful release.
Okay, great. So now exaggerate silly and playful. Like really lean into it. Yeah. Good. And keep following it. It's not you doing this, it's doing you. So keep following it until something new emerges. Yeah. And then when something new emerges, say what that is out loud.
Feel this like quiet, like this room.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, oh, it's like not too much.
Uh-huh.
And then my knees are hurting.
So go into the womb.
Okay.
And be listening very carefully for something that tugs on your attention. A sensation, emotion, memory, or archetype that will appear. You don't have to look for it, just be available.
Feel like this white bird.
Good. Become the white bird very slowly. Good. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh. Good. And you're just staying with it until a new impulse arises, until a new eros arises, until something genuinely grabs your attention.
Whoa. I feel this this picture of a cat, like this wild, like eyes are like in my face.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Embodying that.
So stare down the cat, just from in your inner experience.
Ooh. Ooh. Hmm.
Stay with it, trust it. Don't let your head get in the way. What's the sensation in your body as you stare down the cat?
My body is just completely clear.
Mm.
It's this, like this, hum, like it's
Yes. 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 Beautiful. That feels like a beautiful place to stop. Let's just enjoy that spaciousness for a moment. That's beautiful. So in my experience, that's the body rejoicing in being allowed to speak. We have been so trained to not follow our holy, primal, instinctual body. And all we did for 5 minutes was just give it space to talk to us and follow it. And here's this just like clear, joyful,
Wow, thank you. That
yeah.
was really just the grief that came with realizing how much I had not been letting my body speak.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So this practice that I'm calling Body of Eros is to support you getting in touch with the, love you, Jessica. Thank you. Getting in touch with the instinctual body, with trusting the body, with trusting that we can follow the body, that it's safe to follow the body. You can discover some pretty wild, crazy wisdom stuff, especially if you approach that process with a question in mind. Some kind of problem that you're confused about. You take it into that practice, you'll be surprised what kind of crazy wisdom will show up. Okay. But this is also ground zero training for, lovemaking. Lovemaking doesn't work when we are trying and bringing our agenda. It only works when we let the body lead. And in my experience, making love this way, that's in touch with the flame, with the real of Eros, means that, gosh, the lovemaking can go so many different places. It can become intense and passionate, and then like very still and quiet, and then emotional release, and then angelically subtle, because it's in devotion to the real. What is actually arising in this moment? I feel like I should do another little demo of that, because this practice is really important and it's one of your deep dives, and there's no guidance except for a document that I've given you. So I'm going to do a little demo. Demo time. We are going so over the time. I love it. Okay, so so the first thing I notice is a heaviness in my head, like a weight. So following the thread is just noticing what's alive and then giving it space to really, like, you accentuate and exaggerate it. Now I feel this sensation, like my heart wants to just like gush water, like this, like, and the sense of being a fountain is coming to mind. You have to be willing to wait. You have to be willing to really wait for the real arising. So as I become this fountain, what's drawing my attention is this sense of a very hot sun that's beaming down on my head. And there's a warmth that I can receive in my body. And as I take that warmth in, it actually is melting that heaviness I was feeling originally. And as I do this motion, there's a feeling coming up, and I don't quite know how to describe it. But it's like a deep yearning, like a profound, almost like that edge of desperation that Jessica was talking about. If I wanted to exaggerate that, I would start doing this. And then I have this sense that I'm pulling on this rope. Kind of unraveling this spool. Like something coiled is getting unraveled. So if I just feel into that in my body, become that uncoiling. Oh, now there's like ecstasy. I'm gonna keep coiling a little bit. Uncoiling. Oh, yeah, the ecstasy is like it's like little shards breaking off. So then I just do that. shards breaking off. Oh, and then I almost have this sense that the shards breaking off are pieces of a mirror breaking and shattering. And I have this impulse like I want to scoop them up. I don't want to crush them in my hands. I want to sprinkle them. And then this arising is happening of being a child and making sand castles. So then I just start and then I follow that. Okay, so you just keep following and following and following. This is building a trust in your own Eros. Eros is life arising, the holy impulse that arises within the body. All right. Developing our capacity to listen to the flame, to stand in the center of the flame, to live inside the flame of Eros, to inhabit ourselves and our truth of what we do and who we are, of what is searingly, erotically alive in this moment. Developing our capacity to feel our yearning for the beloved, our sincere desire for God that comes from the heart. Please take me, please ravish me, please touch me, please reveal yourself to me. The radical kindness of resting in the heart and being with what is as love, as innocence. So everything about this flame in the rose already exists inside your body. We have simply been trained to cover it up. So it's a little bit just like dusting it off. This is your birthright. This is your natural state of being as a human. And this flame and this rose are such essential qualities of the deep feminine. And when we get into surrendering and opening into that exquisite feminine embodied place, we find that that flame and that rose are already here. So much of this stuff is going to cut your mind, going to bypass your mind. And that's sort of the point. Does anyone want to say anything or share anything? Emma?
Wow, very profound. So what I took from all of it, you put a different perspective to taking ownership. Taking ownership, so in a way that it's like you embracing it. It's like, what is this fire? What is this sensation? Oh, it has passion, it has life. And now you're not like immersing yourself into it like as a victim, but you're going around there, you're kind of like dancing with it. Like,
Yes.
who are you? What are you about? Oh, okay. I'm feeling
Yes.
you. I'm feeling the sensation. And then you go into something else. It's like, okay, we danced a little bit. What is birthed from this?
Yes.
Joy.
What's alive?
Yeah. So it's so profound, and it's like you keep it, it's like the fire, right? That it's burning, and it's burning here.
Yes.
Now it's going there, and
Yes. So we don't know where it's
there.
going.
Yeah, and it's
That's
like this
right.
crazy dance, and now it's like, what was a backache? Now it's like a different interest. You know,
Yeah.
it's like alchemy, is it? You're transmuting this to something else, and it's like, okay, it's gone. Now
Yes.
something else is revealed.
Yes.
Yeah. it's like, ooh, what is it? No, you're not owning me. It's like, okay, let's unfold this, you know?
Yes. 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 And it's untraining ourselves to be so preoccupied with thinking that our mind knows what's best, because we have an incredible power of intuition that lives in our body, and it's instinctual, and it literally just moves towards life arising, you know? And so this practice is a way of the yoga of listening and following the body.
What comes up for me also that it's very helpful, because I get in my head a lot, is not wanting to, what is it for? Who are you? You know, what's happening?
Right.
You know,
What's the point?
it's more like, okay, all right, let's see.
Yeah.
Let me be in your space. Let's see, what do you want? What is this about? Okay.
Yes.
Experience you, and then it's like, I'm sending you on your way with love. Thank you.
Yeah. And that is the feminine way of revelation. It's to meet and receive and hold space with love for what is here.
Wow.
You know, there's crazy wisdom and revelation and knowing that arises from that. That's very different than the trying to understand from the head. It's a different quality of wisdom.
Like you loving it rather than analyze it, scrutinize it, dissect it, and labeling it, and now you filing it, you know? It's like
exactly.
Wow,
exactly.
So,
and the same with the you know, standing in what I did with Salona.
Yeah, I loved it, by the way.
By saying what it is, you're really saying, I love you. Not because you're right or you're wrong, but because you are.
Yeah.
So like, I see you, I hold you close, I bring you in, and I just hold you. And I let that be enough.
And I felt her experience, and I like when she actually like dropped into that space.
Yes.
It was like, oh.
Yes, you could see that in a little moment.
Yeah, it was
right.
like, you know, it's like, yeah, that little moment, and then it's like, you know, it takes a little practice, because it's like that instinctually look back into what we know, like holding on to that.
Yes.
Safe, you
absolutely.
know, like doing life with breaks, you know, it's like
totally. It's a total practice, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
teaching you, is just how to practice. You're not going to like get it in, you know, one try, but you saw that little moment where she just filled out. She filled up with herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exquisite. I saw that too.
Huge for me too, because I was following, you know, like I was inviting her, like, and funny enough, what she was most embarrassed of, it's like what I made a commitment to myself. It's like, I am not gonna give myself to anybody that I don't feel is worthy. You know, and it's like, I know what I want. You know, and I'm totally owning that. You know, I go there sometimes like, is it a little bit weird that I just like, I'm depriving myself of that human contact that I so much want, you know? And then, you know, it's like I'm saying no because I know what shows up, and it's not quite what I want. It would be easy to jump into that for what? For a shallow experience, for an empty, you know, carnal, you know, that it's not even, it doesn't even do it for me. So I'm looking for so much more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this practice of staying in the flame of truth and being consumed by that truth, for me, has over time completely dissolved most of my habits of self-cruelty. I used to run a lot of self-cruelty, and I still do some. A lot of very harsh, you know, and I think a lot of us can relate to that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
When we just tell the truth and stand in it and fill out inside of it, there's an incredible love that we start to receive. We start to live in the center of where we're living rather than separate from ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you could feel that and see that too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love you. Bye. Does anyone else want to share something or shout out? Jessica Ray says, thank you for this beautiful call, Maya. Radiant women, so important to unravel self-cruelty. Is the self-cruelty judgment? Yes. But here's the thing, it has two sides. One side is, I'm so great. I'm so great is the same as I suck. And your head might get confused with that. I'm not suggesting that you don't love yourself and have good self-esteem. What I'm saying is they're both ways that we objectify ourselves. And that's part of the Madonna whore split. I'm so perfect. Look at me. I'm so great. I suck. I'm whipping myself. I'm a piece of shit. Okay? This is where woman loses her power. The empowerment is, this is what I do. This is me. With absolute truth, to stand in the passion of what we do, because believe me, it is passion. Everything we do is because of our passion. Even the most horrendous suffering-inducing things we do, it's from our passion. So when you tell the truth, you're willing to stand in that passion with the unrelenting forgiveness and mercy of the rose. Mercy, it's not even forgiveness, that's the wrong word. It's mercy. Mercy means there has never been sin here. I never was wrong. I'm just me. Yes, Allison, sometimes it's shame around specific issues. It's not just a general I suck. It's I'm ashamed of this. Those are the ones that we want to bring in close. And stand in it. I do this. I choose this. I stand for this. So that means there's always passion. Yes. So Allison's saying, yes, thanks. I meant it doesn't always have a counterpoint of arrogance or inflated pride. So when I said that, I didn't mean a counterpoint. I just meant that our self-cruelty also looks like I'm the best. Self-cruelty is I'm separate from myself. I'm objectifying myself rather than living in the center of where I am, of what's alive, of what is the truth. Relentless love, right? Fatima says it's kind of emotional surgery, saying yes, 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 getting closer to who I am and where I am. Yes. This isn't a doubling down on your neurosis. It's not like, I'm claiming this and it's right and I'll do it forever. It's just saying this is what I do. And hopefully getting honest enough to inhabit it that you can feel the passion in it, the pleasure of it. It takes a lot of willingness to burn in love to do that. And it's a practice. So these are feminine yogas. I'm planting seeds. Don't expect you to figure it out. But can you feel how this is a much more empowered and kind way of being with yourself than the relentless head trip of, I need to change myself to be different. And once I change myself to be different, then I'll finally be okay. It's like, have you ever met anyone on planet Earth that managed to fix themselves and then finally they were happy all the time? It's not real, you know? The most loving, kind, empowered thing that we can do is just stand in the truth of who we are and what we do. So remember when I was giving you that transmission in that writing last week about, imagine you see a woman walking down the street and she's fucking inhabiting herself. This is part of what I'm talking about. This level of truth telling is, in my opinion, the bomb embodiment practice. Because it's a way that we can fill out into our own skin, into the beautiful mess that we are. What's alive is also what can open our sex. You ever notice that when you're with your partner and like you're not really meeting sexually, usually the first thing you need to do is tell some truths. Get some shit off your chest, all the repressed stuff that you haven't been saying, you haven't been owning, you haven't been admitting. Once you tell those truths, whoo, it gets hot suddenly, right? Because it's alive. Okay, 3-hour call, no big deal. Whoosh. So the practices this week are really going into what is the essence of the flame and how do we practice it and cultivate it and get in touch with it and get out of the way so that we can experience it. What is the essence of the rose? And then in module 3, we're going to really step into how is it to experience them at the same time. And if you haven't noticed already, there is something that's very devotionally erotic about all of this, but it's a different kind of eroticism, right? It's infused with love and God and presence and truth. And to me, this is the essence of Tantra. Whew, okay. Well, you're welcome, Gabrielle. Thank you. I really want you all to get this, and part of the reason why I'm creating this small group container for 3 months is because this information is so radical and it's so deep, and it does require practice. It is like everything I'm giving you here is, it's really planting seeds. You know, it's very, very, very deep, this yoga of living, this yoga of feminine embodiment, this yoga of surrendering to the deep feminine reality. So Eva's gonna have some ice cream after this. Beautiful. Great, that was truly empowering, beautiful. I'm going to be filling up the Trello board today after I have a little bit of a unwinding from this output. I love you all so much, and see you on Facebook this week. Go ahead and bring your faces on and say goodbye if you want. I'm feeling very tender right now. Whew.
We can't turn our videos on, but we can say goodbye.
Some people have their videos on.
Bye.
Bye. Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Samantha.
Thank you so much.
Stephanie. Thank you. Jessica Ray.
I gotta love her.
Stephanie. Love you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, beauty.
Bye.
Bye.